Hey, welcome back everybody. It's Dominic from the Primetime Treasure eBay store and YouTube channel. You know, if you do not like comic books, do not turn off this video. I'm going to tell you why in just a second. If you do like comic books, stick around because I think you're going to like some of the books that I found today. And if you see something interesting that you want, just let me know. Drop a note down below. I'll be happy to list it on my eBay store, which you could see linked down below in the description section. Now, back to the people who don't like comic books and have no interest in it whatsoever. The reason I'm telling you to stick around is because sometimes, and many times actually, you need to diversify your business and you need to start to learn about other topic areas besides what you only know about or mostly know about. So maybe you just sell clothes, maybe you just sell regular books, maybe you just sell marbles, maybe you just sell knitting stuff or sewing stuff, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Sometimes you need to break out of that mold, and you can make a better profit for your business if you start to get into other areas that you didn't originally know much about, but now you learned about it and now you appreciate the value, and now you could start making profit with those items. Like for me, I specialize in the sale of comic books and toys and all sorts of collectibles. Could be signs, could be old books, could be, as I said, automotive parts. It doesn't matter. As long as it has value and it's collectible, I'm interested and I'll sell it. However, I did not know a lot about clothes and clothing brands until last year when I started to watch YouTube videos about clothes from eBayers and other online sellers who did know a lot about that topic. And so I learned from them and I took notes, and then I actually went out and started to purchase clothes with the intent to resell them, and did very well with it. And so now if you look at my eBay store, you'll see that I do sell a lot of clothes. So, you know, again, I'm not really that interested in clothes, but except that they're profitable, and that's my main interest in it. But besides that, I don't really have an interest in it like I do for comic books and toys for some of these other collectibles. But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to break out of your mold. Now, just to give you a little example of how well you can do financially by selling comic books, and this is not something you would want to start out doing, but again, it just helps to prove the point, is that what you see behind me, and you see this in a lot of my videos, I have these boxes that are back here. These are short boxes that are filled with comic books. And I'll just pan the camera out a little bit. And total amount of comic books that were there were 4,000. Now there were two right there where that little space is. There's just two spaces right here where there were comic books. I sold those two boxes that were right here where that gap is, along with a table of toys that I purchased at a comic book convention. I sold all of those for $600. That's minus the cost of the PayPal fees and the shipping and all that stuff. So sold all those two boxes of comics plus the toys for $600. My purchase price for the entire collection, $600. So everything you see here is all profit except for this box, which I'm going to show you in just a moment in terms of what I found today. Now, where did I find this particular box? I didn't find it at a garage sale. It's too cold. It's wintertime. I didn't find it at an estate sale. I never find comic books at estate sales anyway. I didn't find it through a Craigslist ad, which is one of the main places that I find comic books, and I didn't find them at a comic book convention. Where I found them was at a comic book store. Now, the situation I have for this is admittedly unique. I have a good working relationship with a comic book store owner who allows me to purchase books from him at near wholesale prices and then to go resell them. He does that because he has a lot of material that he needs to liquidate. In addition, the rates that he gets the books for are such that when he sells them to me, he's still able to turn a profit. So both of us wind up being happy from the situation. So even if you can't find this situation with a local comic book dealer in your neck of the woods, that's fine. Again, you probably won't. But the stuff that you're going to learn from here is still information that you could use to help you buy. If you see comic books, for example, at a garage sale, you're out there to get clothes and you see these books laying on the table, and you will see this sometimes, you'll know whether or not you should pick them up. So let's go over some of the titles. Let's go over some of the characters. At the end, I'll tell you how much I bought all this for. So one of the popular characters that you want to look for is this lady, Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn, very popular, identifiable easily through her red and black outfit and her red and black hair, and she typically carries a giant sledgehammer. So she is popular for men and women, girls and boys, because for girls, she's an edgy, darker character in the DC universe. She teams up with the Joker and, fights against Batman and, teams up with some of the other bad guys, the Penguin, the Riddler, those types of characters. And again, she has an edge to her. The guys like her because she has a certain sex appeal to her, and again, she's kind of edgy. So people really like her. With most comic books, you want to look for first issues. So you could see here, this is a first issue, and other things that you want to look for as well would be what's called a 0 issue. Now let me get that in the right light there for you. See, that says a 0 issue. And you're probably wondering, if you don't know anything about comic books, what the heck is a 0 issue? Is that really the first issue? No, the first issue is really the one that says first issue. What 0 means, it's a book that they produce later that tells an important backstory about the book or about the characters. And collectors really like to get the issue that has 0 on it because it helps complete a set. Now, if there are only 27 books to a set, for example, and you could sell all 27, not including the 0, so 1 through 27, people will buy that and they'll pay a lot of money for it. But if you have the 0 issue to add on to it, people pay even more for it. So that can add significant value sometimes depending on the series. So that's one of the things you're looking for. Now, I'm not going to go through every single one of these books, but just to show you the point in terms of how much some of these things could go for, you can see the sticker price on here says $24.99. Okay, so that doesn't mean that it's literally going to sell for $24.99, but it's telling you that it is a book that has significant value to it. This character is super hot, super popular. So again, not going to show you all of the books issue by issue because it would just take too long and probably bore you, especially if you're not interested in comic books. But there are all 27, there's 27 issues in here of Harley Quinn. And I'm going to show you something else about these issues because it's 27 issues, but there's some caveats to it that I want to tell you about in just a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip through this here, and I'm going to pull out all these issues until I get to issue 16 because it'll help make the point. Now you see here, I'm pulling out a lot of issues. That looks like a heck of a lot more than 15 issues before I get to 16, right? Well, I'll show you why that is. That's because there's something called variant issues. Now, I've talked about this in previous videos, but let me tell you by this example what I'm talking about. Now, this is issue 16. You could see here it says issue 16 on it. And down below, I'm going to try to get this up here for you so you could see it. You see here, it says let me get that up there. There you go. 1611. That means it's issue 16. It's the first cover. It's the first printing. Okay, so by first cover, that means this is how the book originally came out. However, at the same time that they produced it, like this is, in other words, the standard cover. At the same time they published it, they also published alternative covers. And these are typically covers that are made by other artists that came in to do like a guest cover. This would be an example here. Okay, now you see this one has a price sticker of $23 on it. This is a variant issue, and you could find out a lot of times they'll say variant on it. Now this one does not say variant anywhere on the issue. Sometimes they will. I'll show you that in some other ones. But here you could see it says 1641. So that means it's the 16th issue, it's the 4th cover, and it's the first printing. So that's a secret on how to read UPC codes on comic books. Without even opening it up, you could tell what printing it is, and you could tell if it is a variant cover or not. Variant covers, generally, as a rule of thumb, are worth a lot more than the standard regular issue. There's exceptions sometimes, but generally that's a good rule of thumb, and a lot more money sometimes. So this one is worth a nice amount of money. This one's about the cheapest you could find this particular book right now on eBay is about $45 just for this book. And the reason for that is because this one is a comic convention exclusive. I'm going to zoom up here for you. And what you're going to see there is that this was through the Wonderland Comic Convention, WonderCom Comic Convention in Anaheim in 2015. So what that means is that's the only place where people were able to get this comic book, was at that convention in that city. Other than that, couldn't get it. So it holds a high value for collectors because it is rare. So it's just supply and demand. So if you see anything on the comic books that say anything about it being a convention exclusive, you should generally pick that up, particularly if it's with a popular character like Harley Quinn. So I'm going to flip through. There's other variant issues. That's why you see so many issues there, is because there's a lot of variants that I have in between issues 1 to 27. Other things that you want to look for sometimes, as I just keep flipping through here, and I'll pull some other stuff out for you. Like here's like probably 6 different versions of issue 27, for example. But I'm not going to show them all to you. It would make the video too long. But one of the things you'll look for are special issues. So, for example, here's a special issue of Harley Quinn invading the San Diego Comic Con. So that's a good book to get. Another one would be Harley Quinn Annual. An annual is a book that they just make once a year. So those could be popular as well if you could get the annuals. Then there are what they call specials. So for example, it could be a special comic book in a certain within a certain title that covers a certain topic. So for example, for Harley Quinn, I'm going to pull out a bunch here that are Valentine's Day specials. Okay, so you've got the Valentine's Day special here where Harley Quinn is kissing Batman. This is the standard issue there. And how do we know that? We're just going to go here and you're going to see all one straight across. First issue of this special, first cover, first printing. But then if you look here, oh, we've got something a little bit different. We've got Batman kissing Harley, okay, instead of Harley kissing Batman. And look at that. It's a variant cover. And we know that because it says 0, 1, 2, 1 right there. So those are things that you look for. Here's one that says holiday special. You could see here, price tag of $14.99 on it. So a lot of these books that you're going to see here range somewhere between 10 and, like I said, the one comic convention special one from Anaheim, about $40 could probably get out of it. So a lot of them $20 books, $25 books, $30 books, those types of things. So as you can see, this is going to add up and add up and add up to a lot of money. And you could do things like, as opposed to selling them all individually, you don't always have to do that. It depends. So for example, you could be creative and say, all right, you know what? I'm going to sell these two together and add value for the customer. So I'm going to sell both of the Valentine's Day covers together. Or you could say, I'm going to sell several specials together. I'm going to sell the holiday special with the Valentine's special. So you don't have to pack as much, don't have to ship as much, but you'll still make good money off it and you'll still make a good profit off of it. And even with the specials, as I said, there's variant covers. So with the holiday special as well, you got 2 different holiday special covers. So good money there. I'm going to move on to a different title here. And this one's going to probably be a no-brainer for a lot of you, which is Star Wars. Star Wars is, in my opinion, the most popular comic book title around. And I don't just mean plain Star Wars. I just mean anything that's related to Star Wars. So Star Wars has so many different types of spin-off comic books. They have comic books just about Darth Vader, just about Poe Dameron, just about Darth Maul, just about Princess Leia. They have a series about Chewbacca. So they have all different things. anything they have related to it will sell and is worth money. I mean, it's guaranteed. Same thing with the Harley Quinn. I mean, these are no-brainers I'm telling you about. No risk if you could get them for a reasonable price, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but they're definitely going to sell. So, as an example, you know, here's Star Wars and Darth Vader. Okay, now these are variant covers, and I said sometimes they will say that. As you can see here, it says variant edition on it. So sometimes it's very obvious. There's no UPC code here, but it says it right up top. So basically the reason why these are blank is because people like to purchase these and they bring them to conventions and they have artists do a sketch on here for them. So they make a unique cover for them, and then the artist will typically sign it. And then the person will try to sell that unique cover, sometimes for $100, sometimes for hundreds of dollars or more. And you know, depending on what artist you get to do the drawing and what they draw, you know, you could have a book that is really, you know, you purchased it for a few dollars, and you know, you of course paid for the artist to do the work, but then you've got a book that's really could be worth a lot of money. So it could be a good investment. So people like to get these just as it is. For example, the Darth Vader blank cover, just like this, is around an $18 book. So, you know, Darth Maul, like I told you, he's a popular character. Some of his series are really hot and sell really well. This is a variant cover of his, you know, about $15, $20 book just for this one. This is, again, a variant, and on the bottom it says variant. Another one of the things that you want to look for is it says Aspen Comics. Aspen Comics is the name of a comic book store, and what they do is some other comic book stores do this as well that are you know, have a lot of money in financial banking, like Mile High Comics does this as well, is they'll actually pay the comic book company to make a cover that they have some involvement in producing, and then that will get the stamp of their store on it on the bottom. And so this would be called an Aspen Comics variant. And Aspen tends to be one of the ones that is most highly sought after by collectors. So if you see anything that says Aspen Comics on it on the bottom, definitely pick that up. Mile High is another one that could be good to get depending on the issue. If you're wondering where to check out some of the values for these things, the best place I tell people to check out is eBay's completed sold listings. But if you want to get an idea of what the book value is for it, you could go to comicspriceguide.com. That's comics with an S, priceguide.com. But just remember, book value is not the same as market value. But I talked about that in the prior comic book video. So if you want to learn more about that, go check that video out. So there's some other Star Wars books in here, and you know, just to kind of make the point of what I'm saying here, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, pick it up. Star Wars Shattered Empire variant, Princess Leia variant issue, Darth Vader, just pick it up. They will sell. They will sell. Another character who's one of the most important ones you want to get if you see him. Again, I don't care. He has lots of different titles that he's associated with, but anything with Deadpool in it is super popular. Who's Deadpool? Well, let me show you. Deadpool is this guy here who kind of looks like Spider-Man a little bit. He doesn't quite have the webbing around him, but he's typically in red and all black. And he's basically an anti-hero character who is very sarcastic and popular, particularly with guys. The book tends to be pretty violent, which is another reason why it's popular. And anything with Deadpool in it drives the price up dramatically. So, you know, you could look for the individual comic books, which are thin, like the one that like this one here. You see, like this would just be a regular standard comic book, which is you know, thin. But another thing you want to look for, especially if you're new into comics, and I do very well with them, is something called trade paperbacks. So this is where they take a collection of several comic books together and they sell them in, basically, it kind of looks almost like a magazine, but it actually has a binding that's more like a soft cover book, and it has more glossier pages on the inside of it, like this. Okay, see that? Nice glossier pages. So these will sell really well. So for example, this one right here, you know, be $13, $15, something like that. So these also could sell very well. Look for what are called trade paperbacks, or TPBs is what they're also known as, trade paperbacks. Deadpool, Deadpool, Deadpool. Now, if you could get a lot of Deadpools come in mini series, so sets of 4, sets of 5, sets of 7. If you could find a complete set of Deadpool, that's even much, much more money that you'll be able to get. I mean, some of the sets will sell easily for, you know, $80 or something like that, depending on the set, even for just a few bucks. So definitely pick up Deadpool sets if you could find them, find the complete series. Other things you want to look for are, and that I found today, would be Suicide Squad. Now, Suicide Squad has a character on it that you should notice, which is Harley Quinn. Suicide Squad is basically a collection of a bunch of renegade evil characters in the DC universe who band together to complete missions. And so Harley Quinn is a part of the Suicide Squad, which is one reason why it's popular. I found 2 of these, but pick them up wherever you could see them, because if you could find them in other collections, you could add them together, and you could do really well with Suicide Squad. Sometimes you'll just find some random things that you didn't really know anything about beforehand, and for me, that includes these books here, which is The Adventures of Fat Freddy's Cat. I knew nothing about this book and never saw it before today, but these are books that came out in the 1970s, and they're these little thin black and white comics right here from the 1970s about this cat. And turns out it actually has a pretty popular cult following. And so, you know, these sell very well, either individually or in lots, and should be able to do really well. You know, some of these sell for $20, $25. You know, you could combine them together into lots and things like that. This is 5 issues, so I'm probably going to put all 5 of these together and, you know, do pretty well with them. So, you know, you got to look them up. I didn't know if it had any value, looked it up in the store and saw that the completed solds on it were pretty good. So picked them up and added them to the book. Generally, added to the box. Generally, books from the 70s and earlier are usually going to be things that you want to pick up. There's some exceptions to that, but books from the 70s and earlier, you know, generally pretty good. Again, there's exceptions. You want to stay away from things like Mickey Mouse and Pluto and, you know, Donald Duck, and, you know, a lot of the Archies aren't worth much unless you find some of the real early ones. So again, there's exceptions. You have to check it out. But as a general rule of thumb, to see books from the 70s and 60s, look them up, because those, you know, you might have something valuable on your hand, and I can't possibly cover every single book here, so that's just a general thing to kind of look for, is the age. Batman, very popular, especially the Batman 66 series. Those are really popular. A lot of people have nostalgia about the Adam West Batman, and this is the Adam West Batman and the Burt Ward Robin. And so this basically is a book that recreates that series, and I've done very, very well. I remember last year I sold the whole set of this for about $100. So they're very, very popular. So, you know, pick them up if you can find them. You'll do really well with Batman. It's just individual issues people will buy. They're just missing this one issue, for example, to complete their set, and they want it. You know, put it online. You'll do real well with Batman 66. Another very, very popular character that you really don't want to pass up, particularly if you find the older books, is Wonder Woman. Now, for the Wonder Woman books, you know, anything that is for, for the older series that are $1.75. I mean, those would be the older books. You know, some of the modern books you pick up too. I generally don't pass up on much that has to do with Wonder Woman. So she has a really, really, really strong cult following. Just do a search on eBay for anything that's Wonder Woman related and search from highest to lowest, and you'll be shocked at the amount of money that people will pay for anything associated with Wonder Woman. Not just comic books, but just Wonder Woman memorabilia in general. Super hot, super popular. Always has been, and I think always will be. Another character that I like to pick up if I see her around, strong female characters are getting more and more popular, would be Elektra. And this is what I mean by a mini series. So this is a mini series. It's a set of 4. Sometimes they'll say on it that it is a mini series, like it'll say 1 of 4 or 2 of 4. This doesn't say that, but it is a set of 4. I have the complete set, so I could easily sell the complete set. This will probably sell for around $12 as a set together. So, you know, these particular books come from the early 80s. Elektra is a female love interest of Daredevil, a popular character in the Marvel Universe. And so she's popular because you can see here, she often wields this sword. And again, she has kind of an edge to her. So people like Elektra. Another popular character is Ghost Rider. And this is Ghost Rider issue 20. And one of the ways you could tell this is an older book is by the price. You see the price here is 30 cents. So these are books that are going to come from the 1970s range, early to mid 70s for 30-cent books. So Ghost Rider, very, very popular. Pick it up. This, you know, probably be around a $30 book or something like that. So $25, $30 book for just for this one. And it's in really good condition. So, you know, and that's one of the other things you want to look for is the condition of the books. You could see here, you know, just through the bag, you could see there's no significant damage to it. There's no rips, there's no tears, there's no soiling, nice and shiny, still looks good, no crinkles, anything like that. Those are the kind of things you're looking for in the books. Want to make sure condition does play an important part in value. You know, these are just some older books. You know, Marvel Team Up. This is an old popular series where the Marvel characters would team up with one another. And this is the annual that I was talking about. So these are thicker books, so give a little bit more bang to your buck in terms of you know, how much story you're going to get inside of it, because they are thicker. You can see here the binding is thicker than your average size comic book. The annuals generally used to run 64 pages, which was double the size of the regular comic books, which were 32 pages. So I always like picking up annuals, and particularly the older ones. People like them depending on what type of characters are in them. A couple random things I bought for myself here. This is a set called Marvel Fanfare. I would not tell you to pick up Marvel Fanfare. It's not a popular title, but I just happen to have a collection of it online, and these are a couple issues that I might add to it at a certain point if those don't sell. And so I'll just have these just to kind of as backup. So I just picked them up. There's just things to add to a collection that I have. And another thing I would tell you, if you see, are early issues of What If. What If has many different volumes to it, but this is the actual first ever issue of What If, I believe from 1974. You could see here, this was a 50-cent comic book, and this is the first issue, and it says, what if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four? And that's what makes this series popular, is it explores topics that never happened in a comic book, but now it's going to, because we're going to say, what if this happened? What if Peter Parker was never bitten by a radioactive spider? That's, you know, a good example. This is done by Marvel, not done by DC, so it's with the Marvel characters. But people really like them for this reason. This is a really good copy of this issue, and so you know, easy sale online. You know, probably again $20, $25, something like that, and be a good sale. So some other things that I look for, just to wrap this up, and I think this would be the last stack I'm going to pull out of here, are these little trade paperbacks here. You can see there's a whole bunch of them, mostly Batman related ones. So you'll see here, there's, just to put this down for a second, I'll show you. You know, we got Batman versus Scarecrow, and this is issue 1 and issue 2, so they go together. So I just sold that recently, so those will easily sell. This one is a Shazam one, so that's not Batman. But I just saw these all together on a bookshelf and just picked them up. So this is Batman and Two-Face. This is Batman and the Riddler. This is one on Catwoman, but it's Batman related. This is another Batman book with the Riddler in it. This is a Star Wars one, so I need to go put that in the Star Wars section. This is another Batman related book. So you get the point here. They're all Batman related ones. I could do different things with them. I could lot them together I could sell some of them separately. I could all do all different things with it. It just depends on what the situation is online in terms of how things are selling based on the completed sales data. A couple last things I would just tell you. You know, sometimes you'll find some thicker books like this one. You know, this Batman Two-Face one. Now this one is a thicker book, and so the retail price on this originally was $19.99. So, you know, I don't know what the completed sold is for it right now, but, you know, I could take this, for example, and combine it with the other Batman Two-Face that I have in there and sell a collection of Batman Two-Face books. So, you know, these thick books, I generally like to pick them up as well, as long as the binding is strong and intact. There's no big creases or rips on the cover or anything like that. Another very popular, is the last one I'm going to show you, is Preacher. Preacher is super popular. There's a TV show, Preacher, the Preacher comic books, Preacher graphic novels, very popular. I have a collection of them online right now. They sell really well. So that's a basic rundown of what I found in this collection. Another thing that I bought, because some of these books, like these, don't have any bags and boards on them. So what you have to do is you have to bag and board them. Now I have a whole stack of bags and boards, but I picked up some extra today. There's all different sizes. Generally for the modern books, what you're gonna do is get these ones that say modern or current on the top. Let me see if I could get that better here for you. So this is modern, current, and then they have boards associated with them. They come in packs of 100. These are made by BCW. So here you can see here, pack of 100 of these boards. And basically, the way it works, got your bag on the outside, put your board in, take your comic right there, just goes inside the flap, and it keeps it nice and straight and protected so it doesn't get damaged. If anything spills on it, it won't, you know, damage or stain the book or anything like that. So you want to make sure you protect all of your books. That's important. But that's just another expense you have to weigh into it. So generally those boards and bags will run anywhere between, you know, for the bags, $8, $9. For the boards, anywhere between $10, $11, $12, depending on the store, depending on the venue. Some places will combine them, like Amazon. You could buy 100 bag and boards for the current modern series. And those will be, you know, you get them for like $16.99 with free shipping. So how much did I get everything for? So we got 3 bags of comics, 2 modern, 1 golden, 1 thing of boards for current, and 1 thing for Golden Age. Golden Age are for the older comic books that were wider. And so these are also good to fit trade paperbacks in, because the trade paperbacks are thicker, and so they take up more, they need more space. So I like to use them for that. But these also are more expensive because they are wider. So you know, I got 1 of these boards, and I got 1 of the comic boards for the current series. So I got all those and all of these for a total of $180. Now I'm going to easily make that back, given how much I told you some of these books are worth. You know, for example, I told you just that one Harley Quinn issue 16 will sell for probably right around $40. So that's $40 knocked off right there, and that's just 1 book. The total of 127 books in there. So if we take out that the person who sold me these factored in that the bags and boards were around you know, $30 for all of that, so that makes this about $150. So that's about a little bit over $1 a book. Now if I was buying a large collection like the one that you see here, I would never pay $1 a book for that many books, because you should be getting some kind of bulk deal off of it. But if you're buying a smaller collection like this, it's okay to pay more than 15-20 cents a book, which is typically what where I like to be at when I buy large collections. You know, of course, again, there will be exceptions to this depending on what's in the boxes. But as a general rule of thumb, when you're buying massive collections of comic books, some are going to be good, Some are going to be bad, so you're buying the good with the bad, and so that's why you're paying that rate of 15 cents. In addition, you're helping the person typically by clearing up a lot of space for them. They just want to get rid of something, so they're willing to part with it and just give you a great deal on it. It's tougher to do that when you're buying a small amount of books. People are not going to generally want to sell a small box like that for 15 cents an issue, but that is where you'd have to be on it if they were not books that had a ton of value. These books do have great value, with many of them worth 10, 20, 30, some $40. It's definitely easy to justify spending a little over $1 per book on them. So this is hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of comic books in here. It's going to be a great flip for me. Just got to put a little bit of time into it and process it, and I'll do really well. This was my longest video, I think. I hope that you like it and hope that you learned something. Sorry if I rambled a little bit at certain points, but if you overall like the video, please make sure you hit the like button down below. Make sure that you subscribe to the Primetime Treasure YouTube channel. Make sure you check out the Primetime Treasure eBay store. If there's something that you saw here in this collection that you want me to list, let me know. I'll be happy to put it up for you. And again, just make sure you subscribe to the channel if you like it. Come back for more videos, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.